Today, I will be introducing the life of my grandma, Eva Caroline Bordeaux, also known as Grandmoms. She was born on July 27, 1949, on Elizabethtown, North Carolina. She is my grandmother by heart, and she means a lot to me. She has inspired me in many different ways, and I know that no matter what, I may always count on her. Grandmoms has lived in many different states, such as South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Florida, and North Carolina. She has worked as a secretary, sales representative, operations officer, and a business owner. Her current job being a business owner. Grandmom's relatives came to the United States from Bordeaux, France, on the 1700s. They were escaping religious persecution and wanted to come to the free world, America. When they first landed in America, they landed in Charleston, South Carolina. They decided to settle there because it was the easiest place at the time. They made a living off farming, and later on they moved to North Carolina. Marrying within the area, they were forced to stay in the eastern parts of the state. Grandmoms only speaks one language, English. Her grandfather, Julius Bordeaux, grew up during the Depression. He didn't believe in banks, so he bought a big safe and kept his money there. Julius would also put bills between the pages of Sears catalogs. When he passed away, his children came and received all the money. Even though he had 16 children, only 2 of them got most of the inheritance. Her grandmother, Margaret Bordeaux, also known as Maggie, had really long hair. She would wash her hair once a year, using a cornmeal to clean it between the year. Most of the time, she would braid it up and put it up. When Margaret was growing up, her mother wanted her to stay home and take care of the children, because she was the oldest. For that reason, at the age of 26, she ran away and got married. During that time, she was considered a sister, or an old woman, for being the age of 26. When I asked Grandmoms what were her childhood memories, she responded that she went to church every Sunday and Wednesday night. She worked on a farm growing vegetables, freezing vegetables, and canning vegetables. The games played when she was growing up were Red Rover, tag, hula hoop. During that time, everyone had hula hoops, for they had just been invented. Kids would take them to school, and they would hula hoop during recess. She would play with her paper dolls and baby dolls, and she also had a bike. Sadly, her mother was not keen on cars, so there were no cars in the house, and they had to get everywhere by foot. For entertainment, her family had a white and black television and a radio. During the holidays, grandmoms would go to her grandparents' house, where big meals usually took place, with very few gifts. The meals would consist of various things, various foods, such as family recipe of peanut brittle bread candy and sweet potato casserole. The gifts would usually consist of foods, and maybe 1 or 2 non-expensive gifts. During school, the gift exchanges would usually be a box of chocolate-covered cherries, soap, or a box of peppermint. The most important holidays growing up would be Thanksgiving or July 4th. Lots of relatives would come by, and the meetings would usually consist of over 100 family members. Grandmoms grew up in a farm in a very small county with not many people. It was very church-oriented, and everyone farmed. Grade school would consist of 1st to 9th grade. High school would be 9th to 12th. In the small town, there was a Belk store, which you could go in and get a dress for Sunday church. A lake was close by. The lake was named White Lake, for you could see the bottom of it. Also, it was a beautiful lake. African Americans weren't allowed to enjoy the beauty of it, for they weren't allowed in. They had their own lake, named Jones Lake. When Grandmoms was a senior in high school, White Lake was integrated, and African Americans could enjoy it too. While growing up, Her senior class had 2 African Americans in her class. Most of the kids wouldn't talk to them. No one did. It was just an understanding during the racial times. The 2 girls never came to any of the reunions later on. I guess they didn't feel like they belonged. When the Civil Rights Movement took place, it was a smooth transition. For you see, during that time, what you watched in the news wasn't a big deal. For the African Americans, afterwards, still lived in the same home. They still lived side by side. The town didn't change much, except people didn't farm as much. They have different jobs due to the way farming is now. And crops are harvested more differently. More automation, less manual labor. The final question that I asked grandmoms was, what do you value the most? And she responded, family, because it's important and nothing else matters.